good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pre-Pearl webinar, where today we're going to be looking at decoding the competence of collaboration. My name is Pearl D'Souza McKinsey. At Pre-Pearl, we are the Belbin India representatives. Of course, we've been using Belbin across organizations. I've personally led wide-scale Belbin implementation projects in organizations such as Startup Business Excellence Group, Cholamandalam Finance, MK Pharmaceuticals, Hexaware, to name a few, Larsen and Toubro. We are a father-daughter team, so I also have my boss who is here. That's Mr. Leslie D'Souza. Mr. Leslie is the one who actually brought the team roles to India for the first time and was the first accreditation course provider. So, of course, I'm very I'm as many have said, I'm very lucky and blessed to be able to work with my father, and I'm very happy that he is also in on this webinar today. Ms. Leslie, would you quickly want to say hi?
Hey everybody, and it's really a pleasure to be on the webinars and every program that we've been doing, especially doing it together with Pearl. Wonderful, gives me great joy. Thank you, Pearl.
Great, thank you. So, what are we going to be looking at today? Yeah, we're going to be looking at exploring the social field that nurtures a culture of collaboration. What does it really require to build a culture of collaboration? We're going to be talking about building islands of coherence at an individual level and at the team level, which would mean we're going to be looking at how do you build the competence of collaboration at an individual leader level and also for the team as a whole. And of course, we're going to be looking at the how of collaboration. So actual techniques. So actually, how does the Belbin tool enable this competence of collaboration? Yeah. So these are the three main aspects that we are going to be focusing on. To start off with, would like to start off with a Mentimeter question. And the question is going to be, what behaviors, according to you, would the competence of collaboration manifest? So if we are talking about collaboration, what are the behaviors that you'd say that collaboration would manifest? And you can join it on your phones at menti.com or just scan the code over there. So menti.com, and you can use the code 11457591. Okay. So menti.com or scan the code. And I'm quickly going to change my screens to the Mentimeter screen. It's a word cloud that you will see. Let's see what has come up so far on our Mentimeter screens. Okay, we've got 2 responses so far. And so far what we've got 1 person who was excellent. We've got no people coming in. So the code is given at the top of your screen right now, okay? Menti.com. So either use your phone or your laptop, go to www.menti.com and use the code over here. I will also put it in the Zoom chat right now, so it becomes easier. Okay, I've also put the link in the chat, so that will give you direct access to Mentimeter. For those who have just joined, welcome. We are currently on Mentimeter. I've put in the link in the chat. And the question is, what behaviors would the competence of collaboration manifest? Yeah, what behaviors would the competence of collaboration manifest? Great, fantastic. We're still getting in some responses. Okay, so the responses that we've got so far in terms of what are the behaviors that collaboration would manifest are understanding, yeah, trust, empathy, active listening, mutual respect, positive communication, being approachable, communication. Listening is coming out strongly over here. Openness, support, harmony, intent. What's your intent? Required skills. Again, trust and integrity. Openness to ideas. Yeah. And these are all behaviors we believe. Did someone say something? These are all behaviors that we are relating to the competence of collaboration. I'm going to go through it once again just for us to be able to soak in what we've got so far. Mutual respect, trust and integrity, positive communication, active listening, that's coming out really strongly. Trust is coming out strongly. Empathy, understanding, ability to listen, communication, adaptability, harmony, intent, approachable, openness, approachable again, support, openness to ideas. Okay. And now, with this backdrop that we have kind of opened up for ourselves in terms of what would be the behaviors, let's start now decoding this competence. Yeah. I'm just going to share my screen right now and let me know that you're able to see it. Okay. If we want to decode the competence of collaboration, we are saying we're going to be looking also, therefore, what is the social field that would nurture collaboration? So, what is the environment? What is the soil that would allow the behaviors that we just spoke about? That would allow the behaviors of active listening, of trust, of being able to understand one another. Let me just look at the words. Yeah, of empathy, of harmony. And we're going to be looking at it at two levels. Number one, at the individual level, how can a leader really showcase these behaviors? And at the team level, how do we create an environment, or what is the social soil that we would need for these behaviors to grow, for these behaviors to be nurtured? Let's go back a bit and really look at what would generally influence the way we behave, the way we contribute, and the way we interrelate. Yeah, because all that we spoke about relates to really behavior, the way we behave, the way we contribute, and the way we interrelate. And particularly with Belbin says that our behavior is influenced by a number of factors. Our personality, so our inherent preferences. Do we have a preference for introversion, extroversion? Do I have a preference for sensing? Do I have a preference for intuition? That accordingly does influence the way I behave. It influences my approach to numbers. It influences the way my approach in terms of, do I really look at possibilities? Yeah. So my personality, that's inherent in me. Role learning. I would have learned certain behaviors depending, in fact, on my work. So, work demands would have demanded certain behaviors of us. For example, I may not really be someone who's very disciplined, but say I was given a particular project where I was in charge of payroll. And at that point of time, I better be disciplined in terms of entering all of those inputs that need to go into that Excel sheet. And I've learned how to do that. So learning influences the way we behave, the way we contribute, the way we interrelate. External influences, the environment, the kind of people we're working with, the kind of demands that the environment is making on us. Experience, our past experience. Things that have worked in the past, we kind of repeat. Things that have not worked in the past, we don't really tend to repeat those things. Values and motivations, very important. What is a value that I hold strongly? What is my motive for something that influences the amount of energy that I put into something? It influences, as we said, our intent. It influences how do we come into a situation, and also our mental abilities. uh, Someone who's very analytical in nature, that is seen in the way the person also interrelates with others. If you've got someone who's completely an ideas person, the flavor of conversations that you would have with this person would be extremely different from someone who's extremely mechanical in a way, in their thinking. Yeah, so our mental abilities also influences the way we behave. Now, if these are aspects that generally influence the way we contribute, the way we interrelate, if we are particularly talking about collaboration, and if we particularly want the behaviors that are collaborative behaviors that we spoke about, um, what is it that we would possibly need to cultivate, and what would the soil need to look like? What would the social field need to look like? And we think there are a couple of elements that are really important. Number one, confidence and security in my worth. As an individual, if I have to collaborate, that necessarily means I need to be comfortable in stepping out and actually asking for help. I'll be ready to ask for help only when I have a certain sense of confidence and security what I actually bring onto the table. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for me to reach out. That's one. We've also found another aspect that's very important is an open mind. Collaboration necessarily requires us to work with different people who would bring in different perspectives, different ways of working, different ideas. If I am not open to it, there's no way we can actually move ahead. And finally, what we've also realized that's important is a sense of agency, a strong belief that I can make a difference, a strong belief that what I do can create a positive change, um, an awareness and a belief in my circle of influence. Now, very interestingly, if you look at these three elements at the individual level, if you're really looking at building collaboration at the individual level, these actually relate very strongly to the whole aspect of emotional intelligence. And particularly the first three elements of Daniel Goleman, what Daniel Goleman talks about as personal competencies, which is confidence and security in my worth, is basically coming from self awareness. Have I made a realistic assessment of what are my strengths? What are the areas that I'm not good at? Yeah. That helps me really understand what am I bringing to the table. Open mind. Very interestingly, the open mind, our ability to be open to things is very closely associated with our ability to manage our emotions. Because very often, when we hear something that is different from the way we think, the way we behave, which is not aligned to what we believe in, it actually kind of unlocks emotions within us. Yeah. Now, if those emotions are emotions that are negative, if it is emotions such as anger, fear, etc., rather than us opening our mind, we actually shut down. We actually close our mind, and then that does not help with collaboration. So, open mind is actually very strongly related to self regulation. Am I able to regulate myself? Am I able to really manage my emotions? Am I able to, as we often say, am I able to tame the lion so that I can really use my thinking brain? And finally, a sense of agency, which is really related to the whole aspect of motivation. What drives me? What is it that's that is actually calling out and ensuring that my energy comes out to the best possible way, and that's related to the whole aspect of sense of agency. How can we then um, almost put this manure, or how do we kind of access this manure so as to be able to help an individual build the competence of collaboration? And this is where Belbin can be really useful. And Belbin can be useful in three main ways. Number one, the Belbin team roles, just understanding the Belbin team roles, and with that, the language of behavior. So one is learning the language of behavior. And the second one is actually the Belbin philosophy, because the Belbin philosophy in it is very closely related to the technique of collaboration, what we call the technique of collaboration. So let me walk you through that. Yeah. So the Belbin team roles, this was over 12 years of research before the Belbin team roles was really published. And Dr. Meredith Belbin identified 9 clusters of behaviors or 9 behavioral talents. Okay. And if these behavioral clusters are present, that's when actually a team moves forward. So when you are looking at a team, and if you're looking from moving from the stages of actually norming to performing, if you have all of these elements present, these were the teams that moved faster to the performing stage. What were the elements really? What were the behavioral contributions? So number one is the ability to kind of generate ideas, solve difficult problems, and this would be behaviors of being creative, being imaginative, providing very deep knowledge, but in possibly a narrow area. Behaviors over here associated would be, being single-minded, self-starting, being dedicated. Monitor evaluator, the ability to weigh options, the ability to be very strategic in nature. Shaper, to have the drive and the courage to overcome obstacles. And there are a cluster of behaviors that are related to this contribution. The implementer, the ability to turn ideas into practical action, the ability to really organize work. A completer finisher, the cluster of behaviors that relates to looking for perfection, searching out errors, polishing. Resource investigator, the ability to explore opportunities, or the contribution of really developing contacts, networking. Team worker, the ability to bring in harmony, someone who's very good at listening, averting friction, being very sensitive to the needs of others. And finally, the coordinator, the ability to identify talent, to clarify the goal, to build consensus. Now, these are the 9 clusters of behavior. And all of us basically have access to these 9 clusters, so as to say. At different points of time, you would have realized that we do play these team roles. Now, Belbin says that while all of these 9 behaviors, and there is no hierarchy in them, while all of these 9 behaviors may be available to us, it is really a question of what suits us best. And he says there are about 3 roles, and all of us have different combinations of these. But from the 9 roles, there are about 3 roles that are what are known as your preferred roles. Okay, these are roles that come naturally to you. My favorite example that I almost every time give is, think of an outfit that you look good in. You wear the outfit, you feel good, you kind of feel taller. People notice for the right reasons. So people say, hey Ashok, that's looking good on you. Today's something special. Is it a special day? When we play our top team roles, that's what happens. People notice us for the right reasons. We are making a positive contribution. We feel good about it. And we're actually playing in our area of strength. Now think of an outfit that you're not too, you don't really enjoy wearing. Say if you're forced to, you will. Maybe it's a sherwani, maybe it is a really heavy sari. And your niece says, listen, it's my wedding, you have to wear it. And you say, I'll wear it, but I'll wear it only for the ceremony. After that, I'm going to change. And you wear it, and 2 things can happen. Number one is you wear it and you say, actually, this is not too bad. It's quite okay. Everyone says, hey, you should wear this more often. You're actually carrying it out quite well. It's looking good. So you say, okay, either it's okay, and you say, maybe I should try it out. Or another thing can happen. People say, hey, it's looking good. You should wear this often. And you say, it may be looking good, but only I know that I'm not very comfortable. Either ways, it's looking good, but I may not really be too comfortable. Those are our manageable roles. So there are 3 roles from these 9 where you can play them, but either they're not too comfortable, or you will realize that, hey, there is scope over here. There is scope for me to possibly improve this area. These are known as our manageable roles, and this is very, very important from the whole aspect of collaboration. We'll come to it in a bit. And lastly, what is an outfit that you don't want to be caught dead in? Maybe it's Lady Gaga's outfit, or maybe it's Govinda's outfit, or Superman's outfit. Yeah, they look good in it, but you wearing it and going to work may not be a great idea. Those are called our least preferred roles, and all of us have 3 least preferred roles. All of us have 3 preferred, 3 manageable, and 3 least preferred roles. Now, the interesting part. What's the Belbin philosophy of what do we do once we know our preferred, manageable, and least preferred roles? So, with our preferred roles, Belbin says this is your area of mastery. Okay, so this is your strength. This is where you get your confidence from. The more we play to these roles, the more we know the contribution that we are making. So that's our area of mastery. For an individual leader to build his or her career leveraging these strengths. Manageable roles, what do we do here? And this is where the journey of collaboration begins. Okay, how does it begin? Our manageable roles is our area of versatility and stretch. So for leaders, we're all talking about we want versatile leaders. Leaders need to know what's their area of stretch. This is the area of stretch. When needed, my manageable role, if it is needed in the environment, if it is needed by the team, I would actually be able to step in and make that contribution. This is my way of actually contributing or collaborating for the team's purpose. This is the way I nominate myself and say, hey, I can help over here, because this is my area of versatility. Yeah. If no one else in the team can do it, in fact, it's an area that I would be able to actually step in. So that's what's known as a manageable roles. And then taking the collaboration journey further from an individual perspective, you have the least preferred roles. Belbin says, as far as possible, don't try and improve the least preferred roles. Okay. There may be a basic minimum that you may need, but beyond that, he says you don't have to really improve it. And you know why? Because in all probability, there will be someone else in your team or in the work structure where you work who will have your least preferred roles as their preferred or manageable roles. Yeah. So there'll be someone else in all probability with the people that you work with who will have your least preferred roles as their preferred or manageable roles. And therefore, your least preferred roles is your area of collaboration, your area of humility, your area to reach out, to actually say, hey, I am not great at this. Say if the PL, the plant is my least preferred role, which is the ability to come up with ideas, solve difficult problems, completely new perspective on things, to be able to say, that's not my strength. And this is where I am going to need help. And this is where I need to collaborate with someone. So Belbin's philosophy actually says we should celebrate our weaknesses. And the reason we should celebrate our weaknesses is because of our weakness, we have to collaborate with others. Yeah, and we say man is a social animal. We need each other to survive. And this is the reason why we need each other to survive. So coming back to the whole aspect of building or nurturing the competence of collaboration at an individual level, how do you build that confidence and security in my self-worth? This really helps leaders. This is an area that I am not great at. This is the area that I need to reach out. But I'm able to reach out. I'm able to really be vulnerable from a position of strength. There are 3 areas I'm not great at, but hey, there are 6 areas where I can really contribute. And that we found gives leaders the sense of self-worth, sense of confidence, and the sense of security to actually be able to say, I am not good in this area. This is where I need help. Yeah. So this is building confidence and security in one's own self-worth. Yeah. Mr. Leslie, would you like to add in anything over here at this point?
Perfect. Well, please go ahead.
Great. Okay. Building a sense of agency. And this is, in fact, one of the part of the Belbin individual report that actually looks at. So, this is, for example, this is my report, and it takes my top 4 team roles and it combines the team roles for me to actually say what is my work style, but more importantly, uh, what how can I make a difference? How can I make a positive difference? And the top styles for me is really providing expertise. I enjoy sharing my knowledge and expertise to help others, helping others with ideas. I enjoy sharing my ideas for the benefit of the team. This is my style of collaboration in a way. This is the way I build my sense of agency. So, for example, webinars are something that I completely enjoy. Why? Because in a way, I do enjoy sharing my knowledge and my expertise to help others. When leaders are able to identify how they create a positive impact, what is the work style that helps them create the positive impact, the sense of agency automatically increases. There is an interest and a new outlook that one can look at in terms of work. And then the last bit that we spoke about in terms of having an open mind, self regulation. How do you really bring in this concept of self regulation at an individual level? The Wellbeing report actually gives you a list of words, which is behaviors that people who work closely with you are able to identify for you. So the Belbin report has self-perception and observer inputs, and that's why it's extremely powerful in terms of the insight that it can give. Now, this report can call out, as you see over here, call out behaviors that particularly for me, uh, is an inhibitor to collaboration. So for me, my top italic word is actually fearful of conflict. And therefore, for me to look at this and to really look at how do I manage being fearful of conflict? And because I'm fearful of conflict, how does that impact my team? How does it impact my ability to collaborate? For someone else, the italic word could be impatient. How does that impact the way I work with others, the way I collaborate with others? And from a coaching perspective, then this can be it can be quite an interesting dialogue and quite a powerful dialogue and insight for the individual leader to really look at how can I therefore build this open mind and how can I really self-regulate so as to look at different perspectives and collaborate with others. Okay, we've looked at the individual, but let's look at also how do we cultivate the social field to nurture collaboration at the team level. Okay. And a couple of factors over here. One is understanding the team purpose. So the purpose of the team would really be the guiding force. The purpose of the team becomes really important for the team to know, be aware of, in order if we really want the team to collaborate better. Awareness and appreciation of team member contributions. Are team members aware of each other's contributions? And very importantly, is there a sense of appreciation? Is there respect for what one brings onto the table? And finally, do team members have the technique of leveraging team strengths and containing weaknesses? So, do we really have the technique of leveraging strengths and containing weaknesses? How can we enable this? So, how can we provide teams with this? So, number one, how do we develop the social field? The first bit, uncovering the team purpose. And when we use this with teams, the basic question of actually going to the why. Yeah. Simon Sinek's golden circle, or really the why of why do we exist as a team? What is the reason for existence of our team? And we actually get teams to articulate this. And of course, you would realize that when team members have to really sit and articulate it individually, There could be differences in the way people see the team purpose, and then the need to really come together and identify and uncover what is it that we are really here for. Yes, of course, to make profits, but as we know, that's not what we're referring to when we're looking at the team purpose, because making profits has to be there. Yeah, we work in organizations because we need to make a profit. Yeah, but beyond that, I could be in any organization and I would still need to be making profit. But if I am at pre-Pearl and I am here at this point of time, then what is the purpose of this team? What is the reason of existence of us together? What is it that is so very unique that we bring to the table that others don't, that another organization does not? And getting team members to do this exercise is the beginning of getting team members to reflect and see what is possible. Yeah, awareness and appreciation of team member contributions. How do we do this? So you can actually look at the Belbin team role circle, and you'll actually have individuals looking at saying, okay, what are our top team roles? And there's actually an exercise where we do where individuals map their top team roles onto the circle. Now, two things happen over here. An awareness of who is bringing what to the table. Yeah, so you actually get to know who to go for what. Secondly, is once individuals understand the language of behavior, that means once they understand the team rules, we found this every time when we go back for a reconnect, the outcome is greater understanding of why people behave the way they do, a greater understanding of where the person is coming from, and therefore an appreciation of what the person is actually contributing. This is something that's extremely important as a base if the team needs to really collaborate with one another. Yeah. And this is where the language of behavior can actually help. And finally, the how of leveraging strengths and containing weaknesses. How do we actually leverage strengths and contain weaknesses? Now, this is where the whole aspect of team role chemistry becomes interesting. When we talk about the technique of collaboration, we've spoken about the preferred, manageable, and least preferred roles. And our least preferred roles is really our area of collaboration. There is another avenue of collaboration. Belbin talks about team role strengths, and actually every team role has also what is known as an allowable weakness. Why is it an allowable weakness? It's an allowable weakness because if managed, it does not really pull the team down. Let me give you an example. In fact, I think I just gave this example the other day, but the plant. The plant is someone who comes up with ideas, is able to solve difficult problems. That's the strength of the plant. The allowable weakness of the plant is that the plant is not good at weighing options themselves. They don't really look at the practicality of an idea. They don't weigh options. They're not really looking at what is the impact of the idea or of a decision. That's their weakness. There is another team role that's called the monitor evaluator. The monitor evaluator is someone who is brilliant at weighing options. These are individuals who can step out of a situation and actually judge the situation in a way that is not at all biased. So you can take a very unbiased view of a situation. The plant is not great at weighing options, but the monitor evaluator is brilliant at weighing options. The allowable weakness of one team role is actually compensated in the strength of another team role. But interestingly, if a plant and a monitor evaluator work together, what do you think? Do you think these two are going to get along with each other? The plant and the monitor evaluator, in fact, when they work together, there can be quite a bit of friction. Yeah. And therefore, very often we say that if someone irritates you in your team, if you're not able to get along with someone in your team, very often it is a clue that there may be great complementarity between the two. Belbin team roles helps people understand and see this. And in that, helps individuals realize how can we work with one another such that we're leveraging each other's strengths and we're actually containing weaknesses within the team. This then becomes a very powerful insight. This becomes part of the technique of working together. So, working with someone such that my weakness is actually getting compensated by his or her strengths. Yeah. So, three elements over here: uncovering the team purpose, an awareness and appreciation of team member contributions, and finally, leveraging strengths and containing weaknesses, the whole aspect of team role chemistry. Ilya Prigogine is a Nobel Prize laureate for chemistry. And he said that when a system is far from equilibrium, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to uplift the system to a higher order. So, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos has the capacity to uplift the entire system. He looked at this in the area of chemistry, in the area of the physical world, and the same would also be true in the social world. And can we look at the small islands of coherence being the individual and the team? And to realize that when an organization, when a larger system, when society is far from equilibrium, where we are seeing things that we want to change, it is small islands of coherence at the individual level and even at the team level, which has the capacity to uplift the entire system to a higher order. And how can we help individual leaders and teams bring the sense of coherence, bring the sense of collaboration into the workspace, into their work lives? What we spoke about, therefore, at an individual level, in order to cultivate the social field, to bring about the behaviors of collaboration, to bring about what we spoke about in terms of greater listening, in terms of being able to trust one another, in terms of being able to work closely with one another. We spoke of self worth and confidence, which is really building self awareness. We spoke of a sense of agency. What is it that I bring to the table? And how do I have my most positive impact? And having an open mind. And having an open mind very strongly related to the aspect of self regulation. Also related to how do I manage emotions that may be disruptive? How do I manage behaviors that may be disruptive? If we can equip leaders with these three elements, it provides the foundation, it provides the ability for the individual leader to demonstrate the competence of collaboration. And at a team level, we've said if we can help teams uncover the team purpose, so that becomes the guiding light. If we can help teams bring about an awareness and appreciation of team members' strengths and contribution, and if we can provide teams with the technique of collaboration, we've then equipped the team to take this ahead and actually showcase then the behaviors of working with one another towards goal. Yeah. So with this, what we've actually done is we've really looked at cultivating the social field that nurtures collaboration at an individual level and at a team level. With that, we've actually kept the last 15 minutes open for dialogue, discussion, ideas, and we'd really like this to be as interactive as you'd like to make it. So please feel free to unmute yourselves, and would love to hear from you in terms of what struck you, and yeah, just your thoughts.
I think, firstly, thank you very much, Paul. I think it was very, very insightful. And the whole competency of collaboration has been always been on my mind, and in terms of, how critical it is and how do we enhance in organizations? How do we bring that? And I even used to come to a conclusion that, as generations are coming down, are we getting more individualistic and is it going to
Yeah,
get more difficult to collaborate?
right.
I think what
Very
stuck
true.
with me was the whole technique, of collaboration. I think for me, that's what is going to be a one key takeaway.
Great, fantastic. Thanks so much, Akila. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions? Yes, I think Alok, good afternoon, Alok. Did Alok raise a hand?
Yes, I did.
Hi, Alok. Good afternoon.
Hi, I joined a little bit late, but I'm
Oh,
so happy that I did join. So it's
great.
been, I have recently got notified for the people who are on the call. And I am at the moment, speaking to my HR team to do this for a subgroup. And interesting is if I have a very short window to explain what Team Belbin role is, I
Right.
find it difficult because I have become so passionate about it. I am so loving this slide. Just this slide itself helps to demystify it in such a beautiful manner.
Oh, great.
I'm so happy to have, seen this now. And said, okay, now I have a way to explain this in, let's say, 5 minutes to people who really want to know this. It's really curious, but I have a tendency to state long words and, go in storytelling. This is
Yeah,
really, for people who don't have the time, this is an amazing slide to show.
great, fantastic. I will send the slide to you, Alok.
Thank you.
Will do. Great. Thank you, Alok. Alok has recently, well, she's one of our Belbin ninjas, did very well on her Belbin accreditation, and she's on the cusp of actually launching her entire leadership Belbin journey in her organization. So we're really looking forward to that.
One of our latest Belbin ninjas.
Yes.
Very
Yes,
good.
Sanjay. Good afternoon, Sanjay.
Yeah, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, very.
Yeah. So I also actually first 15 minute lost into getting into Zoom because Zoom is not
Don't
allowed
use Zoom too much.
us for
Yes.
the from the network. So I have to get into different network and then get joined. But may I request you to go to one slide where I have a
Sure.
question actually. If you go
Yes.
back where you are showing those three phases.
Mm, I'll go back. You tell me which was it, this or was it the
No,
earlier one?
early one. Yeah, previous to that. This one.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So if you see this, I'm just trying to also see in a different angle, if at all. Okay.
Yeah.
If we are saying that in preferred roles, anyway, we are that's so-called mastery or strength, right?
Yes.
And for the manageable role, probably you will have to stretch and start looking for certain different things in a different manner.
Mhm.
So if I position myself in that way, that manageable role is actually try to help you out to coming out of your shell. Probably it helps or it handhold you to start looking things differently and probably check in the areas where probably you can also add value or you leverage or at least start learning from your peers or colleagues who are probably having that role as a preferred role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point, Sanjay. Thanks so
And
much. Go ahead.
another point I'm trying to see is that the least preferred role, I mean, this is a question from my end now, that the least preferred roles will help you to become more innovative, because you probably are in that, if I get into myself in that 2 by 2 matrix, this is the area which is unknown,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
probably, or I have never used, or I have least used, or may have unknowingly used. Okay.
Right.
So will it help me become more innovative or more contributory if I start looking towards that? But in the same time, I don't want to dilute my probably preferred role or something on
Fantastic.
manageable role.
Brilliant. Fantastic, Sanjay. You've actually kind of hit the nail on the head also. When we look at the three ways in which it pans out, um, our preferred roles is our area of mastery. In fact, the coming out of the shell, very interestingly, has to happen very often in the preferred role itself. So when you look at your report, there will be instances where you'll realize that the person will actually, it's almost everyone saying that this is what you're really good at, so play it more fully, play it more confidently. So very often coming out of the shell is usually in the manageable, in the preferred role itself. The manageable role, more than helping you come out of the shell, it can help you come out from the shell in the area of collaborating with the team, volunteering yourself. So in that sense, the manageable role will actually, will kind of give you the confidence to say, hey, this is not something that I do every time, but I am decently good at it. And if there is no one else right now in the team who's good at playing it, I am happy to step in. Yeah, that's what the manageable role definitely helps with. So Belvin says, keep on improving your preferred roles. Also look at your manageable roles, because that's also your area of contribution. But with your least preferred roles, Belvin says, is if you spend time focusing on your least preferred roles, it will definitely be at the cost of your manageable, of your preferred roles. So all the energy will be sucked out of that to try and build your least preferred roles, which is actually going to stress you out, and you're not going to enjoy it, because that's your area of collaboration. It's almost like God saying, this is the area where please you work with someone else, yeah, and you're trying to really build that area. Does that make some sense?
Yeah, and what would be the least preferred role bringing you in certain stretch conditions? Because why I'm asking you, as you know, that in our role, where not only I'm referring to the Tata Business Excellence Models assessments, but also when we work on the cross-functional teams, where those teams probably are going to questioned by senior most leader of the organization, and always those type of rules or those type of things are always stretched, or it's burning you throughout. In
Yeah.
that time, probably many times then you get into what I have observed myself also, or my other colleagues also, that they get into that least preferred roles. The guys who always are happy to be behind the stage, they start happily moving on the stage and start directing on the stage itself, rather than they are
Okay.
sitting in the back. So that stage sometimes also brings you something good out of you, right?
True, Sanjay.
And probably what I felt that the least preferred roles actually, if I go through that stage uh, continuously, or say frequently, rather, if that is my function. Say I'm in say sales and marketing, my digital campaign, one campaign fails, second campaign I'm successful, third fail, fourth fail. Every time you have a stretch, every time you have a competitive world around and all that. Now in the least preferred role, when I'm trying to bring best out of me, or sometimes that least preferred role also brings from your colleague based out of your manageable roles and all that, it actually helps you to hone your uh, preferred roles. That's what my observation. That probably I want to just cross check with you whether my logic or my learning is right or something wrongly I'm looking to. I know that there is a only one box of energy which is distributed
Yeah,
more
but
towards
it's
the
different.
preferred and all that. So somewhere you will have a stress because you are sucking from some role to some role.
Right.
So that would be discomfort and all that. But I think it would be sweet pain. That's
So
what my feel is.
so that is Sanjay. In fact, this is where you would have to actually discuss it individual basis, in looking at the report and the context and the kind of work that you're talking about. That is going to be important to look at, because I see we are combining here
Yeah.
the work and the team role. And therefore, this conversation would need an individual conversation with the report.
And this
And
is Pearl. Some
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, this is a beautiful example, Sanjay. Thanks a lot. Where a coach, right, a Belbin coach, talks and sits with you to make that discovery and get that clarification done. And this is really thanks a lot, Sanjay, for bringing this point. A real value add comes in from the dialogue with a Belbin professional or an accredited person. Great,
True.
great piece. It's very individual. It requires that dialogue. Okay.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Sanjay.
you. Thanks for giving the opportunity to ask. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
And as
Sanjay.
usual, you are nice into everything.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Nishit.
So, Paul, first of all, thank you for refreshing my memory, because first time I went through this Belbin exercise 2004, so
Okay.
almost 20 years back, and then we use it the way you described for the team.
Right.
Even Santa Raju and Emmy were there, so we used it in the BG. But I was just thinking loudly that where else this can be applied, because this has
Right.
come to me just now only after listening to you. Already you may have thought of, but I thought I will just share with you. One is a key positions recruitment.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
one area where one can do.
Very true.
Second thing is when you want to do the role change or promotion in a critical position, so very clearly what is a preferred role required for this position, what's a managerial role required, so whether
Right.
this person will be successful or not. And
Right.
third thing is a lot of organization nowadays doing a lot of mission critical, long duration projects
Yes.
outsourcing. But we never ask that partner that I would like to do the team selection of your team.
Yes.
So that's another area where we can extend this, that because those type of a mission critical project will decide the fate of the organization, because they are the large scale projects, and
Right.
failure is not an option. But many times you end up with a project failure because the collaboration of the both the teams or your organization and the outsource partner has not worked. And this is more relevant for maybe a more intellectual project, and I'm not talking about the construction project or the civil construction project, but it is more where you are using the what you call intellectual part of both the sides. So these
Right.
are two thoughts I thought I will just share, that how we can extend it if it is not thought of in multiple areas beyond building the team. So that's all.
Brilliant, brilliant, Mr. Nishit. You have identified it really well. That is very true. This can application would definitely be in the areas that you have mentioned.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Pearl, just mindful of your time for what you yet have to complete.
Yes, will do. Thank you. We've also got, I think Rajesh has a question. Rajesh, what we will do, and this is, we want to check with everyone, we are okay with staying on and having a conversation, but very quickly, I want to close with a poll. Rajesh, would you be able to hold on for another 2 minutes, or would you like to? Yes, is that cool? Great. Is that okay with everyone? Fantastic. Okay. So it's 5 o'clock. We're going to kind of end with a poll. I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here, for coming in. We will just 1 second. We'll launch the poll. What's the poll on another? So the poll is very simple. Just like to know what would you like as next steps. So would you like to explore the Belbin accreditation as a next step, hear more from our Belbin accredited professionals about how they are leveraging their team roles, and then we would like to invite some of our Belbin ninjas on our webinars. And would you like to explore Belbin for your organization and work?
Can tick mark more than one of them, Pearl?
Yes, you can. You should be able to, yes. Okay, we've got fantastic. I'm just going to wait for another few seconds till we reach at least almost got about 50% have voted. Okay, brilliant. Fantastic. I see an overwhelming majority would like to hear more from our Belbin accredited professionals. So that's something I think we will do. We will invite our Belbin ninjas to come on in and share the interesting work and the different applications that they are using it with. Yeah, great. With that, we're going to continue the conversation over here. For those who are hard pressed for time and you really have to leave, thank you so much for making the time and being with us over here. But for everyone else and Rajesh, we're very happy to continue the conversation. Yes, Rajesh, go ahead.
Thanks, Paul, for an excellent presentation. Lots to learn from in terms of collaboration and how it works in a team and individual context. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
My question was, in a team context, what are the real barriers that you see in terms of collaboration? You know, there's the top management diktat saying, go and collaborate, right?
Yeah.
And in reality, people struggle to collaborate. There are many barriers that come in the way.
That's true.
And then there's a dissonance that comes through because the top management says, we have empowered you, we have, created the soil, like you said, for collaboration, but still it's not happening. How does one sort of identify the barriers through this? And go about rectifying that? For all you know, it may be the top management themselves to be blamed, where people want to collaborate, but really speaking that, there's talk of empowerment, there's no empowerment.
That's very true, Rajesh. I'm going to ask Mr. Leslie also to come in, but if I have to immediately answer that, I think, as you said, Rajesh, it really starts from the top.
Yeah.
Very much from the top. As you can see, culture is something that starts from up down. It kind of trickles throughout. And ideally, so whenever we actually do these interventions, we would do it at least at the level of, say, if it is the department, then at least the department head and his team. Because, we spoke about creating these islands of coherence. But the islands of coherence, we kind of take it at least to the level of who's the head. And so you take one intact team, so that at least in that intact team, you can create that culture. So that the choosing of the team, the construct of the team, if you're going to be doing an intervention, we find that is extremely important. And then you actually start off. So at least what we found very valuable, Rajesh, is that starting point of the purpose. Because when if that purpose is not defined, it's not articulated, then as you said, everything would be available, but there is there's no buy-in, number one. So we find that element of the purpose to start off with becomes extremely important. Mr. Leslie, would you like to add on also over here?
Yeah, thanks, Pearl. And what Rajesh says is so true in real life, where the top management actually gives a diktat, go and build collaboration. And here, as a consultant, what really becomes important is for us to even observe how is the top management itself as a team collaborating. And quite often you will observe that there is a challenge of collaboration at that level itself. So beginning and starting at the top, because nothing works better than the example that is set. And then, the process, as you explained, Pearl, from the individual coherence, helping it's work, for the individual. And that's where the the profiling really helps to build that internal cohesion. All right. And then, of course, with teams and then the organization. So, yes, Rajesh, where to start? The question is, as Pearl said, start with clearly the team purpose, start at the top. Okay. So, if you can't get the top to start, then at least make islands of coherence work, it's very, so we are looking at from the context of, the whole principle of building on strengths of the individuals, collaborating from that particular point when each one personally feeling that he's got some space in the bigger picture. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Yeah, great, fantastic. Will do. Thank you, everyone. I see Meenal is also here. Hi, Meenal. Good evening. Great, will do. Thanks, everybody. With that, we will be in touch. We will let you know when we're having our next webinar. And thank you for making the time today and engaging in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Mangresh.
Thank you very
Was-
much.
Thank you. Was Ambreen able to sign in also? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.